UV printing sounds awesome until you see the price tag. But what if I told you there's a new UV printer that delivers sharp, vibrant prints without wrecking your wallet? Meet the new Anker eufyMake E1. It's compact, it's consumer focused, and it might just change the game for hobbyists, makers, and small businesses. In this video, I'm testing it hands-on to find out if there's a budget-friendly UV printer that's actually worth your time and your money. Eufy printers are usually these big, expensive, and highly complicated devices, and they're almost always totally out of the reach of most makers. But this eufyMake E1 might finally change that, and I'm quite excited about this because I've been considering adding a UV printer to my shop, but honestly, I just can't deal with the $10K plus price tag of most of these things. When Anker came along and said, hey, we've got what is the world's first personal UV printer with 3D texturing, I was skeptical, but it's something I was really interested in. They showed me some samples of some of the output, and I was just all over it. And I said, send me one. And it arrived about a week later, a pre-release version. So I was, nervous about it, but this thing is pretty close to production. So I built a quick project using something from the library and printed my first fridge magnet. And at this point, I'm totally hooked. So in this video, I'll talk about the design and usability, both of the machinery of the E1 as well as the software. There's definitely some really neat features there. I'll walk through an end-to-end example. I just literally turned on my camera as I was making something, and I'll show you how I did it and what I came up with. I'll talk about the Rotary and what you can do with that. This Rotary is just so amazing. Print quality, I'll show you all of the examples that I printed, and then I'll come up with a summary at the end and talk about the pros and cons of the E1 and really a statement of whether this is truly a personal UV printer and whether it's actually affordable. So let's get going. And I'll start with a quick look at some of the design and usability details here, particularly on the hardware side. So it is designed fairly well, this printer. It looks nice and it's very functional. It's designed to be easy. So there's lots of removable panels for things like the cleaning fluid for head cleaning. On the front of the laser, there's also a slot for a carbon filter. I don't know how often you have to change this, but I'm sure that'll be in the final documentation. Looking inside, there's the print head on the right-hand side there, and then there's a camera that's used to find the material on the workspace. So ease of use is the buzz phrase to keep in mind when you're using this eufyMake E1. Everything here just kind of works the way you would expect, and there's not a lot of traps to fall into. And that includes things like the workspaces. There's two different workspace configurations, and when you open the box initially, you'll have the mini workspace, which is 330 wide by 90 deep. And that's good for things like stickers and keychains, small items. But you can remove that and replace it with the big workspace, which is 330 millimeters by 420 millimeters deep. That's good for things like canvases if you're printing a big picture. And then finally, there's the Rotary, which I'll have a lot more to say about. And it has a maximum length of a bottle that you can put in it of about 250 millimeters. Now, be warned, it won't handle all bottles. So if bottles with small necks will be problematic, but there's ways around that. And I'll show you some of that as we go as well. Now, the last thing I want to talk about here is the software you use to control the printer. And that's a piece of software called eufyMake Studio, and it basically allows you to control the printer as well as create projects, manipulate images, do pretty much anything you want. And I'll start with the diagnostic piece first. So if you just want to see what the printer's up to, you can click that second button on the toolbar, and that will allow you to bring up more detailed information like, do you need a firmware update? Or if there's a firmware update, you can download it from there. And then over on the right side, you've got the more printer maintenance type things. So head cleaning and camera calibration, ink status. And really that's all the printer control. But of course, you're also going to want to create projects and drop images in, and there's numerous ways to do that. You can start with community projects. These are projects that other people have created, and you can just select one, customize it, and modify it on your workspace. Then you can use templates, and templates allow you to start from something that already exists, but then you can edit it. So you can change the text or the colors, do those sorts of things. And then finally, you have AI operations as well. So you can pick some AI starter, and you can maybe change the text, the query. And when you run it, it will generate a new image, and it will be more suitable to what you're looking for. But more likely, you're going to want to create your own images, and you can upload those for sure off of your computer or your phone, and you can then augment those with some text, and you can resize the text and position it. So you can do things pretty quickly. It works really well, and it's really pretty simple. Right, so I wanted to take a quick minute here to do a practical project. I'm actually going to put a watercolor photo on a piece of acrylic and turn it into a real actual project, just so you can get a feel for the workflow that the eufyMake E1 uses from the hardware to the software. And the first thing I'm going to do, obviously, is lay my material down. And it doesn't really have to be aligned perfectly, because I'm going to drop my photo on and then I'll align it to the material that I captured on the workbench here. And once I get that done, then I can go to the next step, which is to select the settings. I'm just going to go with a flat kind of engrave here. And in this case, I'm going to pick the high quality, just to get a really good image. And then I'm just going to send it over to the printer and print it. And you can see it coming out here. This is, I don't know, 20 times normal speed. It took probably 15 minutes to print this. And once I have it, I can drop it in my picture frame here, just slide it in and put it back together. And of course, this is a lit frame, so you can actually light this thing up, and it looks kind of cool. It's a nice watercolor. And really, that's all there is to the workflow. It's pretty seamless, and you see you get really great results. Now, if you're into making tumblers, then the eufyMake E1 could be the UV printer for you, because it does have a rotary option, and it's a very good rotary option because it's all automatic. So if you have something like this tapered cup, you can just drop it in. There's a holder on one end, and then you can move the end stock in. And when you're doing the measurement of the cup, and it's all done automatically in eufyMake Studio, it automatically levels a tapered cup, and I think that's fantastic. Now I'm going to show you a sample of how the rotary works, or the output of the rotary at least. I'll do the measurement, and I'll select in eufyMake Studio an image. I'll drop it on, and it's automatically sized here because I did do the measurement. So I can just literally size my image. The two lines on the outside are the perimeter, the edge of the cup, and the center line obviously is where the center is. So I'll drop my image, I'll select high quality, and I'll just put it on here. Now, there's not a lot to look at here because it rotates the opposite direction, so you don't see it till the end. So I'll just jump to that, and I'll pull the mug out here, and you'll see the output, and it looks amazing. It's the easiest way to make a mug that I've ever seen. Now, I wanted to look at two more nuanced features with the eufyMake E1, and the first of these is stickers. Now, you can get the sticker material from Anker, and you put it on the protective sheet and drop it on the printer, and then peel off the protective coating on the sticker material. It's the thin side, if you're wondering. Then in my case, I dropped a couple of rocket ships on here. Now, I picked the sticker mode when I'm printing. And I printed these things, and I can just peel them off. Now, that surface is sticky, so don't put your fingers on it. And I'll then take it over to the eufyMake laminator. And the laminator has a roll of plastic material inside it. And you can just literally take the whole sticker on the backing and roll it in there. The backing's not going to stick because the plastic that's getting laminated on is only on top. And then I can cut the material off with that green slider and peel it off. And the protective sheet goes back with the printer, and you can see the stickers look fantastic here. So I'm really impressed with this. Stickers are very popular, and you can literally make any kind of sticker you want, and they stick really well. And the second of these nuanced features I want to show you is 3D texturing. And this is by far the coolest feature of this eufyMake E1. It works really well. And what it allows you to do is take pretty much any image you can find and turn it into a 3D relief or 2.5D relief on anything you want to print. So what I did here, just to show you quickly, is I have a fridge magnet that I dropped onto the workspace, and I'm just going to put an image, in this case a flower, on it, and I'll rotate it and size it just like I would with anything else. And when I'm ready, then I can go to one of these 3D settings, and I'm going to pick the relief setting, and I'll pick that, and it goes off. It takes 10-15 seconds to do this, but then I can actually look at it inside the tool, so I can get a feel for how it's going to look. And you can see if I rotate around there, it's going to be raised, but I can then go and adjust these settings and make it more or less. You can go up to 5 millimeters of height, which I think is pretty remarkable. Now, keep in mind, this takes more material, but the result is fantastic. This is a little overemphasized for video here, but you can see this thing it actually looks like a piece of clay that I shaped into this form. So it basically turns me into some kind of a pottery type artist without any kind of artistic ability whatsoever. So you're going to use this a lot. And now keep in mind, it's layering ink here, so it does use a bit more ink to do it, and it certainly takes more time. Now, to roll this up and look at it from a business perspective, I wanted to show you some of the things that I created here. And you can see there's quite an array of them, but I chose them because I think these are things that can make money. So things like photographs, especially, pets or memorial items. I've had these metal coins that I can't use for laser engraving. I put things on those. I showed you the fridge magnets. And in the case of the lighthouse here, that rock, the texture feels like rock. Golf balls, one of my favorite things to make. You can do color, which is a real benefit. Hockey pucks, they cost $1.10 to buy, but when you engrave them like this, you can sell them for $10-11. Phone cases, of course, they're really cheap to buy, but when you do some kind of engraving, especially with this 3D texturing, you can sell those for quite a bit of money. Keychains, dog tags. Now, the beauty of the dog tags, of course, is you can put color on there. And in this case, a picture of the dog. Coasters. If you're using wood coasters like I did here, make sure you sand them first. Stickers, of course, I mentioned. And you can put them on. They're pretty sticky. And drinkware is always a popular one now. With the Rotary here, you can also do things with handles. And just to mess up the paleontologists, I did this dinosaur bone on a rock, and I'm considering taking it back down to the beach and tossing it down to see who finds it. Anyway, so those are the kinds of things you can do, and I think a lot of these you could make a ton of money on because it's very unique what the eufyMake E1 can do, and this addition of 3D texturing just seals the deal for me. So I think there's lots of opportunity to pay for this thing fairly quickly. All right, I just want to sum up by saying the last few weeks that I've been using this Anker eufyMake E1 printer, I've had a blast. This thing can do so many things, and it fills a lot of gaps in what I was able to do in my shop. And when I showed some of the samples to customers, they were trying to throw orders at me. So I think Anker has a winner here. And if you own one of these, I think you'd pay for it pretty quickly if you had a side hustle of some sort. Now, on the plus side here, you can print on almost anything. I did have trouble with cork, but everything else I tried worked fine, and I was amazed, actually, at some of the things it could print. There's lots of flexibility with those two workspaces, plus that awesome rotary. You can do almost anything you want to do in your shop. And I like the price. The current Kickstarter price for this is around $1,900. It'll go up a few $100s when they get into production. So if you're really interested in one of these, get one now. There's a link in the description down below. Now, on the con side, there are a couple things to be concerned about here. Nothing major, but you have to realize that this isn't like a laser like we look at a lot on this channel. This is a printer, and that means it uses ink. Now, that ink is fairly expensive, but for the record, all the things I printed, I still haven't used a single ink cartridge, so it does go a long way, but there is that running cost. And the current price of the eufyMake ink is pretty high by comparison to, say, other UV printers. But I did have a conversation with Anker about this, and they said, hang on, we do have a solution coming later in the year that should relieve some of the stress of buying ink from a cost perspective. The ink also has a bit of a smell, and if you measure, you'll find out that the VOCs coming off of this ink is pretty high. So Ideally, you can run it with the covers closed, the front and back cover. But if you can't, maybe you have the big workspace in, then you want to make sure that you vent this pretty well just to keep the air in your shop clean. And finally here, you have to understand that this printer isn't even in production yet. So the printer hardware itself, I think, is rock solid. It works very well. The software that control it is still a work in progress. And I and many other people who've been testing this have been providing input to Anker about the software and what they need to support. And I think you're going to see that grow over time as far as capability and reliability. I didn't have any crashes or anything with the software, but there were just places where I wished it could do something a little bit different. So all in all, I'm pretty impressed, and I can't wait to see what happens here. This printer is definitely going to hang around my shop, and I will do follow-up videos on this because there are these other things coming for this printer. They're basically building an ecosystem around this printer, and I'm very excited to see it. Anyway, there's an affiliate link in the description down below, and if you're interested, click on that. And I'll say, get out there, make your world, and I'll see you next time.